and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Chats. We're here, we have a fabulous guest who's going to talk about, after witnessing a traumatic abusive experience in the Philippines, how they found their true self and moved to America. Let's welcome Valerie Vebar. Valerie is a stand-up comedian. She has her own show in Los Angeles, and we are honored and privileged to have you. Well, let's get to our first question then, which is, how would you describe the taste of a banana to someone who's never had one?
It tastes like yellow. It's mushy, but it feels, because I like bananas. I grew up with like bananas everywhere, so it makes me happy. I grew up in the Philippines. It's a tropical country, so it's like banana central. So it tastes like yellow. That's how I would explain it.
It was all yellow, just like Coldplay.
Yeah. Oh, I love Coldplay.
So let me ask you, when was your first existential life crisis as a child?
I think when I was 4. I know that's super young, but I had a traumatic experience when I was 4, and it's kind of intense. It was a repressed memory, but it shaped my life so much. And I recovered the memory in 2019. So after recovering it, I would say that was my first existential crisis because I was traumatized at the age of 4. So, and for
How
it to
did
be,
it change your view of the world?
oh, it made me so negative because I'm such a positive person, but the traumatic experience didn't happen. It initially did not happen to me. It happened to someone else. But it made me think because I come from the Philippines and it's a Catholic country. It's a third world country, so it's kind of like not that good for women. Especially I'm a stand-up comic. So over there, I'm not exactly that welcomed. I have to act like a woman. So I think because women were involved in the traumatic experience, I'm not going to talk about it for the privacy of the other people involved, but it made me think that women are not equal to men, which is kind of intense. But then I realized that's why I'm such a strong woman because I was struggling with that repressed memory that I didn't know about, but I was always fighting for, hey, I'm a woman, respect me as a man. And then when I recovered the memory, I'm like, oh, so that's why I'm so independent. Because I'm okay. I'm totally fine for Western cultures, but for like Asian cultures, they consider me too manly.
So we will put it in a bow that you witnessed an abusive experience.
Yes.
Okay, and you were young, and it was a repressed memory, which you've only come to realize later. But that repressed memory had you rebelling with behavior?
Yes, I was rebelling against the cultural norm in the Philippines.
And the norm is, for those who don't know,
women are objects. I know, intense, right? But I'm all about equality, and I think that I don't see myself above or below anyone regardless of their gender or sexuality. But throughout all my life, it felt as if I was forcing myself to be a man. Like I'm attracted to men, but there was a time when I was like, no, I have to be attracted to women. So it's kind of weird. I was, I was
so would
lost.
you say you remember taking on a persona of male identity?
Yes, especially when I was a teenager, because that's when the repressed memories started coming through my nightmares. And I remember I was like, I wanted to do sports, I wanted to dress up like a man, I wanted to do this. But when I look at myself now, I like pink and rainbows and ribbons and butterflies. It was like a struggle between who I really am. Because all throughout my life, my sister thought that I was attracted to women, but I wasn't. I was forcing myself to be a man.
So you were mimicking dominant behavior?
Yes.
And you were dressing differently, correct?
Yes.
So, in your mind, when you were doing this, were you aware that you were creating a defense mechanism, or it was just your behavior that you were doing?
Back then, I wasn't aware. But now that the memory has been recovered, I was like, oh, that's why. It was like, now I understand.
So, when you say you were mimicking male clothing, what would that be?
I did not like, I wanted like just the basics, like the simple button up shirt and like slacks. And I'm actually pretty flat chested. And so I tried to like gain muscle so that I can look more like a man. Like I didn't want to show off any of my body. I show it off because I wanted myself to be stocky. So all my clothing, I was like, let's cover it up. But it felt forced. I'm not this type of person. Because I respect the LGBTQ community. I respect them. And so growing up, I believed that I was, maybe I am not, maybe I don't categorize myself as a woman. Maybe I categorize myself as this. But it felt as if there was a struggle inside me. One moment
Mm.
I'll be dressing up like a man, the next moment I'll be in skirts and surrounded by flowers. So I'm like, maybe I'm both, but now I totally am a woman. That's what I recognize myself as, and I feel at peace after recovering the memory.
How old were you when you moved away from the Philippines?
I was 16. I moved to Texas,
And whereabouts in Texas?
Dallas. I'm a Dallas girl.
All right. So when you got to Dallas, did you find you received the same feedback based on what you were wearing and behaving?
Oh, when I was, oh, sorry.
Were you receiving the same feedback as you were in the Philippines?
No, when I was in Dallas, I was the happiest when I was in Texas. Like that's my happy place because everyone is so nice and I didn't feel the pressure. Because again in the Philippines, it's a very backwards country, sad to say. I'm just being honest. And very male dominated where they were like act like a woman. When I was in Texas, it was like we don't care, we love you. Everyone was so nice in Texas. They didn't care what I was wearing. They didn't care how I was talking. There was no one telling me to act like a woman. And so I found myself, that's when I was at my girliest. Like I would go out, I didn't care, I would be in pigtails. I was 16. I became a cheerleader. I like frilly things and lace and flowers and all of that. My room was pink. Like I wanted everything to be pink. So with the newfound freedom and with no one telling me how to act or how to talk, I felt more comfortable being who I really am.
And as a result, you naturally moved back into being more girly, shall we say.
Yes.
When you were going through this, your close family members around you, how did they respond?
I do not have a close relationship with my family, sad to say, because it was the abusive thing that happened was within the family circle. So I never felt comfortable with them. So I usually, when I was at the house, it was just me in baggy shorts and baggy shirts. And then when I would be out, I never thought of this before. It's just hitting me right now. But yeah, I would have like, right, this is another existential crisis. But yeah, I would have like skirts and ribbons in my bag, and I would change my clothes in school. And I realized it until I remember it. It just never hit me until now.
Did you have any family members at the same school with you?
I had my sister, and my sister was also the same because she likes. We come from a traditional family. It's a very very traditional country that we come from. My sister likes showing off her body because she has a nice body. So she was the same, but a little different. Like she would come out of the house in a cardigan, in a long skirt or long pants, and the moment she'd enter school, it'll be like, poof, let's take it off. Let's show some skin and all of that. And she is a beautiful woman. She has the right to be proud of her body, but she was also acting the same way, like hiding within the family. And then the moment she got out, here I am.
And do you think that's because both of you felt safe to express yourself without receiving repercussions of violence or abuse?
I believe so, yes. Because whenever she'd go out, again, we're not close, but I'm not gonna lie, she is a beautiful woman. And whenever she'd go out, we have family members or friends or even our maids, because we had maids back in the Philippines, commenting like, "You think you're a celebrity to dress that way?" So in the Philippines, you're not allowed to dress up unless you're somebody. So even if you come from a well-off family, even if you are gorgeous, there's just gonna be someone who's gonna bring you down. Because I moved back to the Philippines in 2012. I was there for 6 years, and I like skirts. I do like skirts, but I'm a plus size woman, and so everyone would be commenting, "Oh my God, aren't you embarrassed of yourself?" That's a treatment I was getting from my workplace. So
Mm.
I'm like, why? They're like, well, you're not exactly skinny. Why are you wearing skirts? So it's
They
the
were
same.
expecting you to wear male clothes.
They were expecting me to cover up.
Oh, cover up, even though a skirt is covered up.
Yes, because they're like, oh, you're overweight. So you should be ashamed of it. So cover up. Same thing with my sister who has like a bigger bust size. Cover it up. So,
So it's all about being tiny,
mhm.
right? And even though you were now wearing what's considered in that culture female clothing, right? That still wasn't enough.
No,
And you were there for 6 years. How did you cope?
I was depressed for 6 years because
Hmm.
I was acting in the Philippines. I was happy acting. But even when I was acting, this is how horrible, like it's a culture that I grew up in. I don't want to call it horrible, but it's so toxic. I got told one time by a director, Valerie, you will never audition. I'm like, why? I'm good at auditioning. Why won't I pass it? And the director said, because when you go in the room, you look confident. You have to act Filipino, and Filipinos are ashamed of themselves. Put your head down, talk in a soft voice, and don't dress up. I'm like, so I should come in like plain shirts and jeans? Yes, because that's the Filipino culture. It's such a beautiful, beautiful land, the Philippines. It has such a rich history, but because of the mentality, Filipinos don't think that they're here. They think they're here. So it's like crab mentality. They're trying to pull you down. They're like, oh, you shouldn't dress up. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be embarrassed. And I'm a stand-up comic here. If I say the things I say on stage over there as a woman, shut up. That's how I'll be treated.
And what was the impetus for you to come back to America?
My sister tricked me into coming back to America. She did. I mean, me and my sister don't talk anymore. I blame her for a lot of things, but she did do the biggest good for my life, which is to take me out of the Philippines. Because I was depressed. When I was acting that I was happy. Then I went through something happened that I had to stop acting. So I was working in a call center. I had a good job. I was with my family. I was surrounded by friends. I was partying every night. But despite what everyone saw I wasn't happy. Like I was thinking like the worst thoughts possible. So, but I accepted it. I was like, this is my life now. I have a good job. This is what everybody wants. I should be happy. And my
When you moved
sister
back
moved
to America, which part of America?
to California because my sister moved from Texas to California. And so she told me, that she moved for a promotion. So she got lonely and she was like, "Hey, Ate, why won't you come here and be with me? You go back to acting. I'll take care of the bills." But then when I came here, she left me alone. So she was
And
running
you
after her family.
moved to which part of California?
LA.
So in Los Angeles, you come back, and how do you feel and how do you behave differently?
I've never been happier because it was such a struggle at first because when my sister left me, I had Philippine money, which is like 4,000 US dollars, which is a lot in the Philippines and nothing here in LA. So it was a struggle at first because I didn't think that I could achieve what I was going to achieve. She left me alone. I had no one, no friends, no family. I had to live and survive on my own, which I've never done before. But, people here, there, a lot of people complain about LA, which I get it. But this is heaven for me. I'm surrounded by people who are all chasing after their dreams. I'm surrounded by people who are ambitious and positive, and they want to see a change happen, whether it's for themselves or for the world. And I'm like, I'm in the right place. We're here making art. I don't care about the traffic. I don't care about all the situations here. I'm in a place where people want to do something, and they don't judge me for being a woman. They don't judge me for my color. I'm happy.
And many people nowadays do feel that, especially a female in comedy, is judged for being a woman, sorry, is judged for the color of the skin, but you don't find that.
No, I don't. Because I admit I do see this, I do see the difference. Like when men talk about certain things, a woman can't talk about it. And there is a struggle, and I see a lot of women struggling about it. But for someone who came from such a struggle from the beginning of her life, just the fact that I'm allowed to wear a skirt on stage, just the fact that I can raise my voice and no one tells me to shut up or be quiet, I don't feel the same pressure as other women of color feel. Because for me, it's like, this is easy. That's the only problem. Okay, let's get through this. So I
So
think,
it brings you a sense of gratitude.
a lot of gratitude.
And those of you who are enjoying our chat, I would like to remind you, please like and subscribe. And what would you say has been a perception change since being in Los Angeles for you?
That I am worth something. Because I was alone here. Until now, I am alone. And how can you survive in this city where everyone is chasing after their dreams if you're not going to be in their level, if you're not going to see the value in yourself? I have no one here to tell me you're okay. I had to see that I was worth something, because all my
Mm.
life, all that I've been doing is art. I don't know how to do anything aside from entertainment, and I have to survive, and I need that positive mindset. Because I was thinking back in the Philippines, I wouldn't even think. They would tell me, keep your head down. Whenever you're on set, don't talk to the stars. You better shut up and behave. Just sit down at the corner. And when you'd be preparing for a part, I had someone walk by me because it was a sad part. I was trying to prepare for my scene. And a guy walked in front of me, another actor, and said, "You're too extra." So even that I couldn't do. That was my work. So over here, it's just, yeah. Because over there, people would bring you down. Here, without anyone, I had to bring myself up. So I
Mm.
see the worth in myself now.
And did you do any particular self-reflection work to get you to this point?
A lot of self-reflection work, especially after the repressed memory. Oh, you would not be able to talk to me for days. I was just like, I need my time. A lot.
Do you take time daily now to go inward and get yourself grounded before going into the world?
Yes, every morning when I wake up, I usually meditate for like 30 minutes to an hour.
That's a long time for meditation, but it's good, right? We're big proponents of meditation. And those of you who are interested in aware meditation, check out the ebook Vedic Meditation Stories. Is completely free. The link is there, and it's the only publication that has unedited stories from individuals who learned meditation who wouldn't normally in this practice and tell their truth, people you might not expect. And we'll go into underrepresented communities to be able to bring meditation within that community. You can find out more below. And so, with your grounding practice, what happens when you don't do it?
Oh, I get frazzled. Like so frazzled. I'm like, you wouldn't be able to talk to me. Like I can still perform. I'm still professional. But after you say cut, I'll be like, let me out of here. I'm like, I need time to ground myself because it's overwhelming. This business is overwhelming.
Have you found you had to create your own family when you were here?
Oh, definitely. I was actually, I consider, when they say you're aligned, you're aligned. So when I first came here, again, it was the biggest, most troubling time of my life because I was so scared to be homeless because my sister left me and she ruined my reputation. No one was helping me. I had no money. But on my first open mic, because I do stand up comedy, my first open mic ever, someone actually met me and he became an important figure in my life. His name is Richard. He's another comic, and he told me about all these other places, and he became like a father to me, a father figure. And then when I went to the place that he told me, I met another guy who's an ex-manager of this Filipino celebrity, and even he was like, "I see potential in you. Let's start a comedy show." That was my second open mic. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He owns a restaurant here in LA. So he was like, let's do it every Friday, last Friday of the month. We'll call it the Val Show, and it's you hosting other comedians. So let's do it. So he started the show that I have right now, which we're now like having in multiple locations in LA, and it's getting a lot of attention. And that guy, the ex-manager, his name is Josh, he was also like my father figure. So I've always had trouble with men, but the moment I came here, when I was struggling the most, when my sister left me and I had nothing, it was these men who came into my life, these fathers, and I've always had father issues. So it was like the universe telling me, "Hey, it's okay. Here's your new fathers." That one was a little damaged. All the other men in your family are a little wounded. But here's people who want to see you succeed in your career, regardless of the fact that you're a woman. This is your family. So
So
I'm
you
happy.
found healing through comedy.
I found healing through comedy, through everything here. That's why I love LA. I feel aligned here.
What would you say to anyone who has either experienced situations like you did in the Philippines, or who might be even listening to watching this in the Philippines, who's feeling your struggle? What tips would you give them?
Family is the biggest thing in cultures such as ours. But sometimes you have to learn to let go. It's sad, but you're not responsible for them. And sometimes saying goodbye is the best thing for you. It's sad, it's hard, but I've never been happier when I left because no one was telling me to act like them. And this is the best feeling in the world. But again, it's hard. But look, it's a decision you have to make yourself feel better.
Mhm. And what else? What other tips would you tell people?
There's a lot I would ramble about this. You're worth it. That's the biggest thing. You're worth it. Anyone who tells you you're not, anyone who tells you to cover up and be ashamed of yourself, that your body doesn't belong to you, that your voice doesn't belong to you, shut them up. They see you as a threat, as a woman, as a strong woman, with a strong personality. Filipinos told me to shut up. Filipinos told me to cover up. My family told me to be quiet or else I'll get killed because we're in politics. I wanted to
Mm.
be a politician when I was young, and my grandmother told me, "You'll be the first one killed because you're a woman and you speak too much." Shut them all up. You deserve it. You're who you are, and you're a beautiful being. And if they want to shut it, Just let the light flow. You're not supposed to be put into a corner. You're supposed to shine. Everyone is supposed to shine. We all have our little star inside of us. Let's let it shine. Anyone who tells you don't shine, even if they're family, poof, bye.
Mm, mm. And would you say there are certain aspects of how you keep your mindset positive?
Yes, I have to remind myself because I do go back into the dark spot every few weeks, every few days.
Or in the day, right? Every day, the mind will wander.
Mhm. Right, it happens. So, because my life, like, I don't have time to rest. I don't. So I don't have time to watch TV or watch anything. So that meditation thing every morning, that's what keeps me grounded. And if ever I start to go back, I'm like, just finish the day, go to sleep in the morning, meditate again, and you'll be fine. Just
Well, we love that here, meditation, and scientifically, 20 minutes twice a day, and it's important to get that twice a day, will actually start to change the nervous system from going from the fight or flight to the restorative and being able to cognize solutions and ideas. Well, we've been delighted to have you here and share your experience and open up about your truth and finding your true self in a completely different location in the world. And we will have you back soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe and be part of our community. And we'll hope to see you soon in the next Cosmic Chat. Bye.